Hi guys, it's Ray here from City Fan TV, and with me today I've got Jason, and as you can see he's from the Wolf Whistle podcast. How you doing, Jason?
I'm alright, Ray, how are you?
I'm alright, mate. Alright, nice and sunny here. Hope it is in the Black Country, I suppose where you live.
Not really, I'll be honest.
Alright, mate. Well, guys, look, we've got a City fan, we've got a Wolves fan, and as you all know, we've got a game on Monday, Wolves versus Man City. And we're here to preview that. Now, I'm going to get going with, I think the only question I can really ask, Jason, Wolves 0, Stoke 1. What the hell happened last night?
Listen, there's been a bit of mixed emotions on social media from Wolves fans, primarily because the Carabao Cup, or whatever it's called now, is a good chance of winning silverware. And if you look at the Wolves side that was put out last night, there was our record signing, Fabio Silva, £35 million worth of talent up front. Look, we had enough talent on display on that pitch to be able to walk that match. And for whatever reason, we didn't. I don't know whether, sometimes I think that they rise to the occasion, and I think maybe it's not a big enough occasion. I don't know. But look, without making excuses, we lost 1-0. And that's one chance of silverware gone. Now, it also means, as a positive, you've got to take the positives, the fact that we're now going to play even less matches this season. No European football, no Carabao Cup now. So we can, the old cliche, concentrate on the league. But it was a surprise defeat. And, yeah.
Well, there's no excuses for you this season if you, like you say, you've only got the FA Cup in the league. So you mess this up, then, it's not going to look good, is it?
No, I mean, we've had 2 7th-place finishes, and, full credit to Nuno and the squad he's been building. And look, that's beyond our wildest dreams. We got promoted from the Championship a couple of years back, and if we'd have finished top half, we'd have been over the moon. Yeah, we finished 7th, and I suppose really we overachieved the first season. When you overachieve, with that comes a barrel of expectation, and that's just growing and growing now. And I don't think they've done themselves any favours last night. Look, if we'd have had a good cup run in the Carabao Cup and got to the semi-finals, quarter-finals maybe, it would have been, we'd have faced a good side at that point, and stronger teams start coming into the competition, or stronger players, I should say. But look, it's not to be now. We've got to concentrate on the league. Something was quite disappointing last night for me. Jota had been a fantastic player for Wolves, and apparently something happened where he come to the club last night to report to the match and left before the match. So I'm only hoping, Ray, that he's left the oven on.
I don't know. It is a worry, obviously, when players just before the season starts or just before the transfer window closes don't play a game for whatever reason. The head's not right, the mind's not in it. It's always a worry. You mentioned that kid, and I'll move on to players that you've signed, and then move on to sales. Now, you got this kid Fabio Silva, 18 years old, 40 million euros, 35 million quid. It's similar sort of numbers. You got a couple of other players which I don't think are primary players. They look like backup Marcel and Vitinha. So let's focus on this new player, Fabio Silva. I mean, that's a lot of money to pay for an 18-year-old kid. Obviously, he's a Mendes player. Mendes, the agent, super agent. But what do you make of him? Have you seen much of him? Was his first game last night? Do you think he's here for stepping stone? What's the score with the guy?
So it was his first game last night. I don't know much about him, to be honest. And Wolves fans that say they do, a lot of them go, "Oh yeah, I've been watching him in the Portuguese league, in the Porto B team, whatever." But I haven't been watching him. I know nothing about him. All I do know is if an 18-year-old kid who has scored 1 professional goal has, got this 35 million price tag on his head, 40 million euros, by the way. Price tag, he must be something good. He's from the Mendes stable, he's got good pedigree. You look at a player who signed recently last season, Pedro Neto. Took him a little while to adapt, but now that player's on fire and he's keeping players out the team. So Neto is a serious force now. So Silva, I can expect him to be the same. It might be a slow start for him, but when he gets going, he's got all these Portuguese players around him as well. It can only help. Nuno at the helm. I expect big things from him. With the other players, Vitinha, once again, he's come from Porto. Perhaps he's going to be a little bit like Neto. He played in a number 10 role last night. Don't know if it really worked, but I think once again it's going to be a bit of a slow burner. Marcel has got a lot of experience. Obviously, we lost Johnny with an injury. I believe he's back training now. And yes, he probably is the backup to Johnny, and he's getting his chance now. But he's a strong player. He might keep Johnny out the team. He's got a lot of experience. I think he's 32, so he's a bit older than what we usually go for. But, you know, to be honest, it's been a very good window, Ray.
Yeah, you let a couple of players go. Now, the one that I think most people, or probably both of them, they'll have heard of, obviously Costa and Docherty. Are you sad to see either of those players go? Or is it not a big issue for you?
I think looking at Helder Costa first, when he first come to the club, especially in the Championship, he was an unbelievable player. Got to the Premier League, and he, you know, his development probably did slow up a bit. But listen, I always say this: in that man, Nuno, we trust. If he doesn't think Costa's up for it, you know, basically he isn't. And what we've got to look at is if we want to get to the next level, we've got to lose players. Now, Matt Docherty, which you rightly point out, 15, 16 million, whatever's reported. Is it a lot of money? No, it isn't. The reality is, for me, he's 29 years of age, Ray. Now, he is at his absolute peak. For that reason, next year, is he going to be worth 15, 16 million pound? And I think that although we technically haven't replaced him yet, I believe it was the player's decision to go, which I don't suppose helps. Look, at 29 years of age, if he doesn't do that move, you know, he's never going to get that opportunity again. Great move for the player. Is it good business by Wolves? I think, look, the jury's still out. 16 million quid, like you said, not a lot of money, but he's 29, he's at his peak. Next year he'll be worth less. We move on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go through the finances of selling a player, but in too much detail, but you sold two players, you've got a total combined selling price of somewhere over 30 million quid. It'll help your accounts. There's no question about that. It'll help your accounts because I don't know what you got for, how much you paid for him and how long ago it was, but I suspect in the books he's down on as a minimal value. Costa, you're going to make a profit, I suspect, a reasonable profit on the sale of the players. You save on wages and stuff like that, and you save on amortization. You get, and it actually, they'll help to fund the players that you do buy, your Silvers and and anybody else. And as rolling on to the next question, who else do you see coming and going? Is there anybody in the horizon? We've got a couple of weeks left of the window.
Just going back to a point you made there, Matt Docherty, we signed him from Bohemians in Ireland for pennies nearly 10 years ago. So that is, so if you look at it that way, it is fantastic business. For FFP purposes as well, it's good business. And I think, listen, if offers come in for players and they're big offers, I think as a business, I think Wolves have got to look at it as well. And yes, we want to build a great team, but obviously that allows us to restructure the team and to obviously, find new players. Look, we've been linked with quite a few players, Ray. For me, if Fabio Silva starts scoring goals and we've still got Jota and we've got Traore who can move up front and we've got Raul Jimenez, I think we've got enough striking options. Centre-backs, I maybe would like to see a good, strong centre-back come in, if only to challenge the three that we've got. I believe Marcel can slip into centre-back as well, but we're quite unique in as much as we play a three. But listen, Wolves, we are linked with players, but, they keep the cards close to their chest. And the Wolves fans, look, we're getting a bit frustrated. We haven't signed anyone. Jeff Shee pops up like a 007 bad guy. And, he's 3 days or 3 out of the 4 days, he signed 3 players. And then all of a sudden, the faith's restored and we're all happy, etc. So I think we've got to keep faith in the Fosun ideology of how they're doing things. Nuno, look, they've got their targets, they've got their players, they're going to back him. So, look, and I'd expect a couple to come in this week. Mike, what day is it? Friday? Maybe next week.
Yeah, next week. Okay, so you mentioned Nuno. Is he signing? Is he supposed to be signing a new contract?
The biggest deal Wolves have done this pre-season isn't Silva, isn't Vitinha, isn't Martial. It is Nuno, tying him down. If we lose Nuno, bigger club. Are there many bigger clubs in? Well, yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Where's he going to go? Where's the next level? Teams like Arsenal are a bigger club than Wolves now. The way we're playing, the money we're spending. He's got an almost open checkbook at Wolves. He's got this pool of Portuguese players who he trusts. He's got a fabulous relationship with Mendes. I couldn't really see him going anywhere else, but I think it was so important that we tied him down to the club. We've got him now under, I believe, a 3-year deal. We're obviously recompensing him, how he should be. And to be honest, that's the biggest signing we could have hoped for this pre-season, Ray.
Yeah, excellent. Moving on to football now, rather than what's going on behind the scenes. You had, I think, a pretty decent start to the season. You beat Sheffield United 2-0 at their place. Actually, I did a podcast last week. It's not out yet, sadly, but I picked Sheffield United to go down. The guys thought it was crazy, but look, they've had at least a couple of weeks more rest than Wolves. We talked about this before. It's not fair for Wolves and City, especially for Wolves, the amount of time they've had off over the summer. It's ridiculous. I think City have had a month off, and we're playing on Monday. It's crazy. But how did you look against Sheffield United? Are they looking bad, or were you pretty good?
I think Sheffield, it's a difficult one at the minute because away games, home games, there's no fans. That it is difficult. So I think that reduces the benefits that the home clubs get, if you like. And Sheffield United were a good side last season. Once again, like Wolves, they bounced into the Premier League and they had a fantastic first season, Ray, and they really did. And I think this season is going to be the real test for them. I haven't really looked at what they've spent in the transfer market and what they've done. But for Wolves, look, we scored 2 goals in 6 minutes. The first goal especially, Pedence down the left, great cross over to Raul Jimenez, lost his man, stuck it in the top corner. Then obviously Romain Saiss as well popped up with a goal, a couple of minutes later. 2 goals in 6 minutes is a fantastic start. I think then, especially the second half, we took our foot off the gas. We wanted to protect the lead when I think we could have gone out there and actually probably got at least one more. And the danger is when you start protecting your lead, if you do concede 1-2-1, it is really game on then. But to be honest, we've got to be over the moon with that. Sheffield United isn't an easy place to go to. Chris Wilder sets his team up well. He thoroughly researches the opposition. So I think 2-0 away, first game of the season, we've got to be happy with that, Ray.
Yeah. Do you want to ask me a question or two, Jess, before we move on to more in the game?
I mean, I'm wearing a shirt, Ray. I think you're quite familiar with it. This is the shirt that we beat you in twice last season.
Don't remember. It's a new season, mate. It's a new season. We've got to move forwards. You beat us 3 times last season, didn't you?
Yeah, and look, I don't really want to mention 1974 neither, but I'm not going to, I'm not an archaeologist. I'm not going to dig up the past. From your point of view, Ray, look, City are a club that Wolves emulate. They are. They've spent a lot of money. They play good football. They've got unbelievable players. Do you think they've strengthened enough in the window? And what do you think you can? Do you think you can challenge Liverpool this season and retain your title?
I'm glad you called it our title. Rather than the title. The thing is, yes, a lot of fans are not happy. A lot of fans are not happy. Our title challenge was pretty impotent last season. We'd given up the ghost well before Christmas. I think Bernardo Silva said that by Christmas we didn't expect to win it. So it was uncontested for Liverpool. No pressure. They could just go out and keep winning games. Now this window, there's a few positions we were looking at. We were looking at another centre back or 2 because Otamendi was going to be moving on. Fernandinho's 35. He's not really a centre back, even though he played well last season. We wanted a left back. Mendy, his injuries have caused him a lot of trouble, and he's not really shown what he can do. What he did at Monaco, and he's now 26. We wanted another striker because Aguero, wonderful though he is, he's 32, and I'm worried that when he leaves us, if we've got nobody else coming through, it's going to be a hell of a job for a new guy to come and start Sergio's shoes and Gabby Jesus in that man. And we could do with a midfielder or two as well. So to get Ake, I quite like Ake. I've watched him for a couple of seasons, especially not last season, the one before. I thought we should have gone for him last summer. So I'm happy with him. Ferran Torres looks really exciting. He's 20 years old. He's played 2 games for Spain recently. He got an assist and a goal. He looks really exciting from the videos I've seen, people I've spoken to. So the business we've done is good. What a lot of fans are unhappy about is this Koulibaly thing has been going on and on and on for months. And we've not got him, and we've not got anybody else. We do need another centre-back, I think. Otamendi, I expect him to leave. Garcia said he's not going to sign a new contract. So, he wants to stay for the last year. We should just get rid of him. I'll send him to play with the kids. Because if you've said you're not going to sign a new contract, you've got no future at the club. And at 20 years old, why should you be stopping somebody else from having a chance? If you're not our future, then there's no need for you to be near our first team. So we could do with another centre-back. To pair it with Laporte and have Ake as a backup and Stones as a backup. It looks like Stones is going to stay. Hopefully he'll stay fit, get his confidence back and be that guy. But we need a leader. I think that's the biggest thing for us is mentality. That's what's costing us. It's not ability on the pitch. It's a lot of it's to do with mentality. And I think when we go down, we don't come back. We don't come back to win games now. I can't remember the last game when we were a goal down, we come back to win. And after the restart, whenever we went behind in a game, we never won it. Chelsea, we had our chances, we never won. Southampton went behind, never won. Lyon went behind. We get back to level, but we end up losing. So we've not won games. And I can only put it in mentality. And look at, I'm not jealous of Liverpool, but you look at them and you think, if they're 2-0 down and they get a goal, you think they can come back. Even if they're 3-0, give them half an hour, you feel they've got that mentality to come back. And City don't have that. So that's the biggest thing we need. And losing Company as a leader, we need somebody else. That's what we were hoping Koulibaly would be. Back as a defender and as a pushing place forward. So.
But with Liverpool last season, yes, they did have a good season, but I think this season there's maybe going to be a bit of pressure off them. Now they have won the Premier League, albeit behind closed doors, so it's not the actual proper Premier League that they won. But we won't have any Liverpool fans watching this to upset. I mean, they got off to a pretty shaky start against Leeds. Yes, they won 4-3, but was it 4-3? And I believe they conceded 5 because Leeds had 2 disallowed. Leeds, everybody's favourite second team, the best team to ever come up to the Premier League. Anyway, they got off to a shaky start. So if they're going to be shipping in goals like that, it's going to be a tough old season for Liverpool because something was obviously wrong at the back. So maybe that. Look, I think realistically it is Liverpool and Man City that are going to be challenging again this season. I think it's going to be a 2-horse race. Are you in the same vision as that, right?
I think it's probably going to be City and Liverpool. I would say it's Liverpool for me clear favourites, simply because they got 99 points last season. The thing is that towards the end, though, they did start shipping in goals. They did start losing games. It seemed that it looked quite comfortable that they were going to get well over 100 points and they were going to set a new record. I don't think there's any question about that for me. And they flopped at the end, really. I mean, look at some of the games. They started shipping in goals. I think they were home to West Ham in February. They won 3-2. Then they lost that game to Watford. 3-0. I actually had them down to lose that game. I think I put 2-0 on my score sheet we have this league. Then they were shipping in goals, 2-1 to Bournemouth, drew 0 with Everton. They beat Palace 4-0, but then they came to our place after the restart. We pumped them 4-0. They beat Villa. Villa not very good. They beat Brighton at relegation. They drew with Burnley, but they were letting goals. Brighton scored against them. Burnley scored to get the draw. Arsenal beat them. And then had that 5-3 against Chelsea. They beat Newcastle as well. So they were letting in goals all the time. And in the Community Shield, they did look brilliant. So It's got to give everybody a bit of hope. It's got to give everybody a bit of hope. And Arsenal beat them twice now. We beat them once. And I think if teams look down their flanks, that's where a lot of their creativity has come from. They've relied on two solid centre backs who don't get up to attack, midfielders who generally don't get up to attack, and they rely on the front three lumping the ball to them or playing it out wide and using Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold. And if you can block those fullbacks, you can stop their creativity. Then you have to rely on somewhere else, and their midfield genuinely hasn't had that creativity. Now you can argue that with Thiago Alcantara, they'll get some creativity in the midfield, which is possibly, I won't call it a masterstroke, but it's a way I think Liverpool can get around the way teams might play against them this season. City have had that for the last couple of seasons, where we've struggled against teams that play a low block, teams that play five at the back, or sometimes six, and are ultra defensive. Now very little space. So I think Liverpool have got that plan B. They've got another outlet. So if their fullbacks are blocked from attacking, they've got Thiago in the midfield to come through. So, but it's up to everybody else to step up. It's in my mind right now. It's Liverpool's to lose. I think City will challenge. We've got to. I hope so. Yeah. I think Chelsea can. It just depends how quickly Chelsea settle. And I think it's a up and down season for Chelsea. But if they settle very quickly, get a few easy games out of the way, get wins in those games, then who's to say that they couldn't put up some sort of challenge? I don't know how strong it will be, but I don't think anybody else will be up there. United, they finished last season pretty well, United, so you'd expect them to start this season well as well. So, but I just, Chelsea United, it sort of seems like they're going to get 90 points this season. I don't think so. And I think they're taking 90 points to win. It's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see what you guys do in your third season, whether you can step up, whether anybody else can step up. Everton started, or the Spurs are going to strengthen it again. And Arsenal, you never mentioned Arsenal, but look at what they've done. That's it. They beat City, they beat Liverpool twice, they beat United, they beat you guys, they beat Sheffield United, pretty much beat everybody apart from us. And Arteta is building a very strong side, side, and I think they will knock on the top four. And you don't know. I mean, it's a funny other thing to finally say. When Pep finished his first season at City, we were to be honest, and a lot of fans weren't overly happy. 60 odds or 70 points isn't great. Can't remember what the points were, but the following season, bang, he hits in a 100-point season, and the following season, bang, he hits in a 98-point season. So it doesn't mean and Arteta could do something at Arsenal. He's getting a few players in. They weren't. I do watch. I've done some stuff with some Arsenal YouTube sites and podcasts, so I do watch occasionally their stuff. I find it quite interesting. And they've got one proper self-belief. Rather than what else in the past they've had this delusion that they're one or two players away from being great. They look at it and say, look what Arteta's done with the players we had, the players that were underperforming for the last two managers. Look what he's done. And look at the little additions he's making. If they get Partey, if they get Uar, I mean, who's to say they can't get top four? And once you're in the top four, who's to say you can't challenge? So it's one of them. It's going to be. I think it's going to be another exciting season where you can argue Liverpool and Man City are the two favourites, but two or three other clubs could mount a challenge and get into 80 odd 90 points.
I think you're quite right, Ray. Arsenal, I do believe, are going to be dark horses. There was a player you mentioned earlier, your record goal scorer, Sergio Aguero. I mean, realistically, like you said, he's 32 now. How long do you think he's got left at City at the top? Is he going to score many more goals? What can you foresee with him? Because he's been such a great player.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the club have said he can leave whenever he wants. So it's up to him. He can name the date. Similar to what they did to David Silva. They said he can decide when he leaves. They always left this 12-month rolling contract on the table for David Silva. And he didn't take it. And then he said 10 years, it felt right, time to leave. Obviously, we had this hoo-ha in the summer about Messi. I think if Messi had come, Aguero would have stayed a bit longer. They're supposedly very, very best of mates, very good mates. And I think he would have stayed to lose 34 or even 35. He says he wants to win the Champions League with City. Let's not talk about Champions League. But I think he's definitely got a year or two left. Not playing all the games. I mean, last season he played, I think, 24 league games, 24 appearances. He got 16 goals. It's still a good return.
Unbelievable return. That's an unbelievable return.
Yeah. If he played 35 games, he'd have been top goal scorer in the league. So it's just that at the end of the season, he got that knee injury, which kept him out for the last few league games and the Champions League. He's now training again. I think it's unlikely he's going to start. Certainly not start on Monday against you guys. The word is he's not fit enough. He might not even take part at all. So that is another concern. We have to play something a bit differently, and that's what I said earlier. We're worried that I don't want him to retire at the end of, say, this season. We've got nobody else lined up. If Messi does come to City, next season, then I think Aguero will stay another 1 or 2 years. Even as a backup striker, he'll stick around. I
was just going to say about Messi, that was quite interesting. I forgot about that before the interview, to be fair. Now, I mean, he's 34, I believe, now, isn't he? And next season he'll be 33. So next season he'll be 34, which for a footballer is, they're coming into veteran status now. With Messi, he's been an unbelievable player. He really has. I mean, I don't know what it'd take him financially to be prized away from Barcelona. But, do you think he would have fitted into the City way? Because with Messi, he's an unbelievable talent. People might disagree with me, but I think your Spanish leagues and your Italian leagues do run a lot slower than the Premier League. The Premier League is a very, very quick league. I think he'd be closed down quickly on the ball. There'd be people hatchet men out for him, which I suppose he's used to. I just think if City had have signed him, do you think he would have fitted in? And, do you think he would have been the player he was that he's at Barcelona?
If they fitted in whatever the speed and the style, I just think he's just too good not to fit in. And I don't know whether we'd have saved him for the big games or the tight games, at his age, how much would he put? So, yeah, people like you guys, because you never let us beat you. You don't let us win. We have to work really hard to get anything out of you guys. And in the 4 games we played with you, 4 proper competitive league games we played with you since you've been on, we've only won 1 of them. You guys work really hard, and you make it extremely difficult for us to win. And we need someone. We do need somebody with that little something special to break down defences. That when you've got 4 or 5 at the back, and we're struggling to break you down, because our normal way is get down the side and cut the ball back or hit it across the 6-yard box for someone to tap in, and we're not doing that as much. And people are stopping us doing that. And we've got no plan B. When you see City start pumping balls into the box in the air for people like Aguero and Sterling, something's gone wrong. Pep won't admit it, but the more we pump them in, the more we've got no idea. When Pep once said last season, he said, we're hoping to pick up the second ball. Sorry, Pep, that's a lot of rubbish. You don't play football to hopefully pick up the pieces in the box, and get lucky. We don't play like that. So, but I think Messi, look, his last season he scored 31 goals last season. It's not shabby. And when you look at his goals and assists stats for last season, he scored a goal or an assist every 62 minutes.
Wow. I mean, that is incredible. At any level.
At any level. And let's compare him with the player of the season, Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne got a goal or an assist every 85 minutes. So Messi's getting a goal or assist 1.43 every game. Now, even if that drops a little bit, you'd still take that. And here's another point I said. When we played Lyon in that quarter-final of the Champions League, we had 4 free kicks that KDB took, and they were all easy saves. 3 of them were straight down the goalkeeper's throat. I think 1 he had to dive a little bit, but it was an easy save. And for me, it's not would Messi have scored with those 4 free kicks. It's how many. If you score one or two, and I think that's something else he'll bring you. He'll also bring you that mentality because he's a winner. 6 Ballon d'Ors. He's got plenty of trophies in Spain, and he's got, I think, 3 Champions Leagues. He's got that mentality as well. He will also, I think, he'll win games before we kick off. There will be some players, they've grown up watching Messi, they will be in awe of him. Some players will just go out there and boot him, but others, they'll give him too much respect and they'll be in awe of him, and he'll help us before we've even stepped on the pitch. So I think he'd have fitted wherever. We could have put him on the right where Mahrez plays, we could have put him in the midfield, KDB, he's attacking midfielder. We could have put him up top as a false 9. He'd have fitted in. I don't think we'd have had a problem with that. His age doesn't worry me as much. Yes, he's not as good as the Messi was 5 or 10 years ago. But his numbers are still brilliant. And Ronaldo's numbers are brilliant. He's 35. You look after yourself properly, you can still do it. So,
Like I have.
I think him.
Ray, the stats don't lie, and Messi has consistently performed now throughout his career, as has Ronaldo. And I think, look, it was great to see Ronaldo in the Premier League, although we probably didn't appreciate him like we would now. And with Messi coming over, I mean, in shirt sales alone, I think City would probably pay for him in that because everybody...
No, I've got to stop you. You don't make money on shirt sales because most of the money goes to the manufacturer. You're looking to get 5%.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, the way you make money on your shirt sales is your kit deal. That's where you get your money. We've got £65 million deal with Puma. That's where most of your money is made. And then if there's a lot more sales, Puma are the ones who are going to get the bulk of that money. I think you get around 5%. Liverpool have got a slightly different deal this year. That's why they got rid of the last kit suppliers. They wanted this deal with Nike so that once they get past a certain number of merchandise sales, then Liverpool get a much higher proportion of the future money. So Messi, the basic way we'd have paid for Messi is we'd have asked a lot of our sponsors. There's it's not a story, it's from a Wayne Rooney's agent. When Wayne Rooney was holding Man United to ransom a few years ago when he was talking about coming to City, I was just hot air. He was on about 180 grand a week. And the way United funded his new deal of about 350 grand a week, the rest of the money came from sponsors. So he would do commercial deals. So we've looked into this and said, even if it cost us 100 million, we'd have afforded him because we'd have gone to our sponsors, said, to Puma, to people like Nissan, some of our big sponsors, and said, even we've already got it in the contract with them to say if we sign a category A player like Mbappe, Neymar, then you'll pay. And they're glad to pay. I mean, can you imagine someone like Nissan? You can have Messi in your adverts for 5 adverts, let's say. And it's global because we have this CFG, City Football Group. We have clubs in so many different countries.
Yes,
across all them. And you say to Nissan, you've got access to Messi in the markets that we're currently in. We've got clubs in Belgium, now in France, Spain, America or US. Australia, China, India, and Uruguay, as well as Japan and City. You got access to all these 10 clubs. So your adverts, and you can just see it. We go to people like I talked with our finance expert Colin Savage, and you go to someone like Hayes and say, "Look, Hayes, do you want to use Messi as the face of your recruitment campaign?" Absolutely. How much is that worth? Millions. It is worth millions. So we'd have got a lot of money from sponsors, and we've got a bit of money. We've got a bit of capacity, so we'd have funded it. So there's no worry. Yeah. Shirt sales give very little additional income from what your kit deal is, unless you've arranged it differently. And you can think, well, if you're selling a shirt for 65 quid, then, let's say you're selling. Let's use 60 quid. It's a bit easier. Selling the shirt for 60 quid. If there's VAT on that, well, that's 12 quid gone straight away. So you're at 48 quid. The retailer is going to make a fair chunk of that as well. So if it's at Sports Direct or at the club, wherever, I mean, the clubs like City, it's not City. It's I think we use Kitbag or one of the big suppliers. So they've got to make their cut. So you've gone down from maybe 48 quid to 24 quid, and then people along the way. So it's not a massive amount of money. So you might be selling the shirt for 60 quid, but the club might be looking to get 3 or 4 quid out of that. So
wow. I didn't know that, to be honest. I suppose it was a bit of a myth that shirt sales make clubs money, but quite right. The deal
you'd get an extra few 100,000 sales. I mean, City fans are going to buy the shirt anyway, and whether they get a shirt with Aguero on or KDB or Messi, they're still going to buy a shirt. There's going to be an extra. Look, I bought 2 shirts. I got the away shirt and another shirt, a training kit when it come out. And if Messi had signed, I would have got another kit. But how many people would have done that? You'd have got a few thousand City fans would have done that, and you'd have got a lot of other fans around the world who are Messi fans. They'd have bought shirts, but you're not going to get another million shirt sales. We might have got an extra 100 or 200,000 shirt sales, but that's it. It's not this myth that people say, "Oh, you're going to sell 1 million shirts. It's worth 6 million quid. You paid for Messi." It don't work like that. We'd have got an extra bit of money, but that's it.
The big game on Monday, Ray. I mean, Ray, listen, I've got to point this out to you, mate. Up there, Man City. There we go again. Up there's the programme. Signed the glory years for Wolves of the 70s. I'm only winding you up.
I saw that, man.
You're over it now. It is a big game Monday. How do you feel it's going to go?
Honestly, look, Wolves, as I said, we played you 4 times since you've been back up. We beat you, was it once? Drew once, lost twice. You're not an easy club to face. And that's what, and people got to remember, we played you in a season we won 4 domestic trophies, and we beat you once and drew once. We played you last season, we finished 80 odd points, I think 81 points. We lost to you twice. And we were a good team, and you turned us over and drawn with us and made it really difficult. And we've had more rest, less rest than Wolves. We're not ready. I just can't believe we're ready. Pep's only just returned. That a lot of City fans are unhappy with what's going on. It has a bad feel to this season. Pep hasn't signed a new contract, so he's now in his last year. We're hoping he's going to sign a new contract, but nothing's been said about that. Our players not all fit. Sergio's not fit. We've had 2 players off with coronavirus, with this COVID-19. They all tested positive. That was Mahrez and Laporte. We've seen Mahrez train. I haven't seen Laporte yet. I feel we're undercooked. We're not ready. Pep's been in training for less than a week. It feels like a mess, and it feels a bit like that last season with Roberto Mancini. It feels like that last season with Manuel Pellegrini. And a lot of City fans are worried. Going in undercooked, underprepared. We've had no pre-season friendlies. We're just going to play, I guess, a game between the first team and the kids and some fringe players. That's not competitive football. You guys have, even though you've not had a lot of rest, you've had 2 competitive games, already. So you can argue that you've not had enough rest, but you're into the new season. We're not. So with a way to Wolves, you can catch us cold. Come Monday, we could be bottom of the table at the start of the game. We're the last game.
Playing City.
There'd be banners, Pep out.
If they could let them in the ground.
Absolutely, if we could get there, they'd be doing that. Honestly, you better believe it. There are some sections of fans who'd be doing that after 2 or 3 games. So
listen, you don't need to talk to me about sections of Wolves fans. Listen, you need a tin hat to go on Wolves Twitter. Last night, I get we've been knocked out by Stoke, but to some people, it really is the end of the world. There's been groups or accounts, I should say, even saying Nuno out, Fosun out. That has happened, and you think, what do these people want? What do they expect? Okay, so we get rid of Nuno. Who's going to get in? Who's coming in?
David Moyes.
Sorry?
David Moyes. Tony Pulis.
David Moyes, Sam Allardyce. You know, who are we going to get in? Yes, we might go for but we're just starting all over again. What Nuno has built here has been incredible. You know, the squad he's built, the players that are coming to play for Wolves because of him, and, you know, Fosun out. What are we going to get then? I mean, you look at the mess Sunderland are in. I'm not saying it's ever going to be like that, but you look at the mess clubs can go to when people come in with no idea, with, you know, egos. That's all they've got, and they've got this grandeur that they're going to get the club into the Premier League. They're going to win the Premier League within 5 seasons, as every owner says to their supporters, because that's what they want to hear. At Wolves, yes, they have made a lot of noises, but they're doing their work quietly as well. Be careful what you wish for, not you, Ray. Football fans in general.
The thing is, I mean, I'd say to Wolves fans, I mean, it wasn't so long ago that Wolves went bang, 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 bang from the first division to the fourth. It wasn't so long ago.
We can't talk about that, Ray. You know, the supporters, you can't talk about that, because bearing in mind, we have got a set of our supporter base who are 17, 18 years of age, who only know Nuno, who only know winning football. That is part of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, we get that at City. There's a lot of people saying cheeky out. Cheeky Bagheera-Stan's our director of football. A lot of fans, you know, they say, look, some of what they say, I agree, but they don't know the reasons. So they say, look, we're talking about selling Angelino, okay, 18 million euros. Angelino was in the Champions League squad of the season. He went on loan to RB Leipzig, and he did pretty well over there. And people are saying he's I think he's 23 years old. They say, why is he going for 18 million euros? If we were buying him from RB Leipzig, we'd be paying 40 million euros or 50. And he's worth at least 30, 40 million. And, you know, I can agree with that. And other players, they say, we're selling them on the cheap. But you don't know why. Now, I say, you know, this can be a longer preview than normal, but you know, I don't mind. We're talking about important things. Angelino, we got him back last summer. Now, who's to say we didn't have a gentleman's agreement with him to say, if you don't make it, we'll give you 6 months if you don't make it, because he came in his cover from Mendy, who was injured at the start of last season. And we could have said, we'll let you go for 20 million euros because we'll make it easy for someone to buy you. Okay, if we price you at 40 million, maybe it's a tough move for you. So maybe you've got a gentleman's agreement or an actual contractual agreement to let him go for a certain amount. And maybe that's how you get to sign extended contracts. And you're not going to make it public. You're not going to tell everybody that this is what we've done and why we've done it. And it's the same way we said to Aguero, you can leave when you want. You can decide, we respect you that much, you've done so much for us. We did the same with Silva. And we don't know. And people that make finances of clubs, they don't realise how much COVID has hurt them and other things have hurt them. And I give it some basic, simple examples. COVID. There was a rebate to the TV companies. Now, Liverpool lost 17 million quid. I don't know what other clubs have lost. Liverpool lose the most because they're shown the most. But City would have lost 14 million quid. And it's income that you budgeted for, you're expecting to spend. You lose that. You lose the Chinese money's just gone. The Chinese TV contract, that's been cancelled. Yeah. I can't remember the numbers. I read somewhere that you're losing 9 million a season. If you lose 15 million from the rebate, 9 million from the Chinese, you're 24 million you just lost. Last season, you didn't have fans at games for about 6 or 7 games. City would have lost, I reckon, the best part of another 15 or 16 million. We average about 2 million quid per home game. So if you lost another 15 or 16 million of income that you get, you've got over 40 million. That's a lot of money. If there's no fans this season, we stand to lose all our gate receipts. That's another thing. Yeah. Before you know it, you're 95 or 100 million pounds short. And this is money that before COVID came along, you had every expectation to get. Who's going to pay you that money? And it's going to be the same with Wolves. You're going to have the same problem. You might not have as much match day income. People don't get this. But you've still lost the rebate. You still put that money back. You still lost gate receipts for home games last season. You still going to lose gate receipts at home games this season because right now there's no match day income.
Yeah,
and you're going to lose some sponsorship because there are some companies that might have sponsored you or given you a small amount of sponsorship, 1 or 2 million quid. who, because of the situation, are not going to invest. Think, hang on, unless you're Liverpool and you put your staff on furlough, but then you go out and spend 30 million on players. A lot of companies are going to think twice about doing deals like that. So Wolves, I think you lose at least 50 million, easy 50 million, and in fact they say, "Oh, we want to buy." Well, you got to ask a fan, if you've lost your job, you're struggling for money. Can you go out and buy a brand new car? No, you can't. You've got to cut your cloth accordingly. And sadly, it doesn't matter how many times you tell fans this, they don't want to know. They don't want to know.
I think, Ray, football is an industry like no other, and it hasn't done itself any favours over the years by the overinflated transfer fees and the money coming in from TV, etc. And what it's done to a certain degree with a lot of clubs, it's give their supporters a sense of entitlement. So Wolves have now had 2 7th place finishes. We now should be breaking the top 6. When we've broke the top 6, we should be breaking the top 4. When we broke the top 4, we need to be winning the Premier League. And if we don't, it's going to be a meltdown. But why? Because, let's just enjoy the ride. There is no football club in the world which has just progressed every season and hit the absolute pinnacle and stayed there. There is going to be ups and downs. Look, I want to win games more than any other Wolves fan. I love my club. I want them to win. Well, history tells me, and people don't like to hear that, but history does tell me it's not that simple and it's not going to be that way. So let's take, the wins for what they are and enjoy them. And when we lose, we'll obviously take that. On Monday, we're going to take the win. It's going to be a difficult game for us, but we're going to take the 3 points. Look, I believe that I think he's going to go with a pretty similar side to what we had against Sheffield United. I think we're going to come out the blocks. I think, it would be great to get an early goal. Whether we're going to, I don't know. But I think, I hate to say this, but I think we're going to raise our game, and it's going to be one of them where we are going to give City a hell of a game. And if we could beat City, play 2-1-2 would be an unbelievable start. But as supporters, I think if we pull a draw or it's a narrow defeat, we've got to take the positives and we can't be too disappointed. But for me, I think it's going to be a sneaky 1-0. We're going to get an early goal, Raul Jimenez. We're going to shut the City boys up. And and you're going to be bottom of the league. You're going to be saying Pep out next.
Honestly, I will say for what you said. I think that Wolves, for the last 2 seasons, you've punched above your weight. Most definitely punched above your weight. And fans are going to see that. And, yes, you can talk about the established Big Six or whatever, but look how much money, and that's what it comes down to. Look how much money clubs are pumping in. Look how much money United are pumping in. Everton right now. Liverpool haven't spent a lot, you could argue, but they'll still spend 40, 50 million this transfer window. Look how much City are spending. Look how much Arsenal are going to end up spending. If Arsenal get the next couple of players in, there'll be over 100 million spent. Look how much. Have I mentioned Spurs? If they get Gareth Bale back, come on, guys. Gareth Bale is still only 31, 4 times Champions League winner. And look at other clubs who have got a bit of money throwing that about. West Ham throwing a bit of money about as usual, and other clubs are putting money up there. I think Leicester will spend a bit. So there's no entitlement, and it could be disappointing if you finish 10th or 11th this season. For fans, for some fans. But I think that's realistic. For me, you try and keep your feet on the ground and say top 10 for Wolves is still another good season. And
I think so.
I remember City way back. Was it Peter Reid? We finished 5th one season under Peter Reid, 5th the next season. We started the following season badly with, I think, after 4 games, Peter Reid was sacked. And then, I can't remember, did we go down or we were near the bottom that season? And that's like what you say, be careful what you wish for, And we were overachieving at 5th. And, after 4 games or so, you boot somebody out. So it's ridiculous. You've got to keep your feet on the ground. You've got to keep your expectations in check. Yes, you've got to have ambition and you've got to have hopes and dreams. You've got to be sensible too. Yes, talking about the game on Monday, I think it's going to be a hell of a game for City. It's going to be really, really tough. You offer me 1-1 right now. I'm taking that 1-1 right now. How difficult is the game? I'll tell you how difficult it is. I have no Manchester City players in my fantasy football team. Not a single one.
I think I've got one.
Who's that? Don't pick Edison.
No, I think I went for. Actually, I did have two. It was two defenders. I had Kyle Walker and one other, and I've been Kyle Walker off already because he's going to have a nightmare on Monday. You got one, Ray?
I've not got a single one. I didn't pick anybody for Monday. Obviously, last weekend we didn't play, so I didn't pick them to start with. In a normal season, I'd have KDB, Sterling. I wouldn't have any defenders. I'd toss up between Aguero and another midfielder, maybe Foden, because he's dead cheap. Foden. I wouldn't come Monday. I wouldn't, because the thing is, I see you guys scoring. If you look at all the games you played against us, that 1-1 with the hand of Bowley at your place.
I remember that.
I was there, mate. I remember that.
Can't be his leg. He's got big legs.
And then the two games last season. So I expect you to score, so that's why I'm not having any defenders in there. And I don't think we would score more than 1 or 2 goals, even if we were on a good day. So why would I pick a midfielder or an attacker if we're not going to score many goals? And it's very hard to second guess who Pep's going to play. We didn't expect KDB to play, but would he? Would he play Mahrez? Would he play Bernardo? Would he play Foden? Would he play Ferran Torres? Gabriel Jesus? He's trying to work it out, so that makes it even more complicated. No City players for various reasons. So my score prediction, I'm going to go 1-1 for a score prediction.
I'm going to go for a very sneaky, and I don't want to upset you, Ray, a very sneaky 1-0. Because I hope we get an early goal. It'd be unbelievable, but I think they would I think Wolves would sit back then, which does in itself invite pressure. But I'm going to go for a 1-0.
All right, mate. That's fair enough. Whatever happens, it's a tough game. And I'll repeat, it's not fair for either club to have to be playing games so soon. It's asking for injuries. I mean, we're looking at, if we beat Bournemouth in the Carabao Cup, 5 games in 13 days. It's ridiculous. We've had 30 days off, 32 days off, or whatever. That's it. And we're looking at 5 games in 13 days. It's just asking for players to break down and to have injuries, which is unfair on them. And I hope we play a few kids against Bournemouth, because we've got to. It's a funny old thing. We won the Carabao Cup the last 3 seasons, and we'd love to win it again. It's a fan's favourite now, but I don't like disrespecting and bidding trophies off, because like we've grown up through times where trophies were thin on the ground, like my hair, and we just want to. You don't say no to anything. So I just hope it's a good game. No one gets injured, and no VAR crap, because that's annoying. No. Just best team wins.
VAR is about as welcome as COVID at the minute, isn't it?
Yes, it's not very. There's the problem is there's a lot of things gone wrong in football over the last year, and VAR is a big one of them. Hopefully, now we've seen the refs use the pitch side monitors, which they should have been using last season, and I think we'll get better decisions now overall. So let's hope for that, and let's hope that goal line technology is working. I mean, I've got to mention it was a ridiculous thing last season where the Villa stayed up. The Villa stayed up because of that goal line technology.
Was that at Sheffield United, I believe?
Yeah, Sheffield United. So
I mean, that was just it. When they're focusing so much on VAR, they're putting so much time, effort, and money into that's going to be the way forward now. The video assisted referee, and they can't get goal line technology. And then the company was on Twitter that made the error. I mean, this is goal line technology. All they've got to do is is it a goal or not a goal? That is all they've got to do.
The thing is, I can accept reluctantly that with 8 cameras or whatever, they never had the right angle. They couldn't get the goal line technology because it was blocked by the post and the keeper and the defenders. Well, I accept that, but VAR could have overruled it. You could see the ball was, the fellow was well inside the goal. You could see it.
This company who do the goal line technology, they come out with some half-baked apology on Twitter, we're sorry that you had your car scratched on the car park, we'll check the CCTV. It was just so half-hearted how it wasn't working, but that is their only job, that goal line technology. Yeah. If you can't get that right in a critical game, which settles promotion and relegation, then, you know what, Ray? I've got a big problem with VAR. I used to like it when you could go down the pub after and we could debate the Willy Bolly handball goal that come off his leg. And we can debate that and we can have banter, and that's all gone now. It's so clinical almost. But now we're arguing about VAR decisions because they're getting them wrong. So
that's for me. I always wanted VAR. I'd like it to be quicker because I want the decisions to be right. Look, it's not just people's livelihoods depend on this. People's careers depend on this, and fans' happiness depends on this. And I want the right team to win a game. And I want it to be fair. Otherwise, if you're happy with the mistakes, I don't think that's right. So I don't have a problem with VAR. I want it to be quick and I want it to get them right. I don't want it, as it seemed last season. It was an open charter for maybe this is a strong word to use, cheating. By officials. People might think that's it's over the top, but some of the decisions made last season were downright disgraceful, where they wouldn't overrule somebody else, and you think, hang on, it's the implementation is an absolute mess, and that's all it's, the paucity of the penalties we were getting, you could, and then they come out and apologise afterwards. We don't want you to apologise after him. Get it right. When it's so obvious, And people will say this is bitterness. We feel some teams get a slightly better rub of the green. Teams that play in red get a slightly better rub of the green than others that play in different colours, whether it's yellow, orange, or blue. And I think that's unconscious rather than all conscious issue, conscious bias, or whatever you want to call it. But if you've grown up with United and Liverpool and Arsenal being the top dogs, and you're a referee or a linesman or a VAR official, you can sympathise with them because they were the big boys when you were growing up or whatever. And I think that's wrong. I've advocated for independent officials from overseas. Why not? Why can't we just get the best officials from around the world, as long as they speak English, get them in the Premier League, and hopefully you've got people who haven't grown up supporting Liverpool, United, like...
I agree.
I forgot the guy's name there. He lives in Altrincham. He says he's an Altrincham fan. Is he? But all his family United fans. I forgot his name now, off the top of my head now. But and then you give him United games or City games. It's got to be wrong. It's got to be wrong.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Why not get the best continental referees? There's enough money in the Premier League. Fly them over, put them in a hotel, give them the game, hotel, out. Perfect.
Or even just get them over here full time. Get them over here full time. And if they're paying refs $100,000 a year, you can bet your bottom dollar that most European refs would say, "You're offering me a job, $100,000 a year. I'll take that." Or take American ref, $100,000 a year. When I'm on 20 or 30, and when I'm on 10 or 15, if you're in South America, but it doesn't matter where you're from. If you're a good ref, you're a good ref.
Yes.
Mate, I better shut up shop now. My kids are getting up. So they're going to come in here and give us right.
Don't worry, mate. I've got a baby coming in 5 weeks, and I'm worried it was going to come.
I'll tell you what. This 20-30 minute preview has ended up an hour, but it's always good. For me, it shows that there's good conversation, a good bit of banter, and there's good important talking points, and I hope the fans appreciate that.
Well, when you're bringing it out, Ray?
Later on today.
Brilliant. So I'll retweet it and that and push it. Just at me in with Wolf Whistle and then I'll get it promoted.
Yeah. So I'm going to say massive thanks to Jason Guy from the Wolf Whistle podcast. a big Wolves fan in more ways than one. And that's the last dig in. And hopefully, we might speak next week if the result goes our way. I don't really want to. But cheers, mate. Thanks so much for your time.
No problem. Thanks, Ray.
Cheers. Take it easy.
And you, my friend.